They told you immigrants were criminals. The numbers say you were lied to. So, quite a provocative framing. The often sort of common retort is that these bloody immigrants are coming in and ruining things, committing crime, taking our jobs, taking our women, blah, 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 blah. And the reality is actually quite the opposite. Research by the economist Brian Kaplan demonstrates that actually immigrants to a new country, and this is a worldwide phenomenon, actually commit less crime than the local native population. And it's not to do with morality or anything like that, it's for a very simple reason so they are not deported. Do you see what I mean? The reality is it's a simple calculus. If person A has more to lose than person B for the same action, then by default, person B is more likely to engage in said action than person A. And this law applies to immigrants. The reality is when you face the threat of both deportation, jail time, and no doubt jail time back in your own country of origin, it just simply isn't profitable for you to engage in crime. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, but it means that immigrants are incentivized not to do so. In particular, this is the case for illegals. Kaplan gets into the data and he really crunches the raw data. And what he finds out is that quote unquote illegals, or as the proper humane terminology is, undocumented immigrants, actually commit far less crime than both legal immigrants and the native population. Why is this? Because, again, they have more to lose. So, again, it's a simple calculus. Person C, in this instance, has more to lose than both person A and B, therefore, is less likely to engage in the exact same action. Furthermore, they pay taxes including undocumented immigrants. They pay taxes every time they buy something, and so on and so forth. So, in other words, they're contributing to the country in two ways. Number one, by participating in the economy. Everyone that's a consumer or a producer within a said economy is contributing towards the economy. Why is that? Because an economy is simply the production and consumption of goods and services. So they participate in that way and on top of that, they pay taxes, usually through sales tax, things like that, towards a infrastructure that they will never benefit from. And so again, they're actually more or less uplifting the country for free. Now, there's often sort of talk about, well, welfare and things like that, and these are legitimate concerns from the point of view of the taxpayer. I can understand how someone would prefer that citizens of their own country receive such benefits. However, the reality is that number one, legal immigrants often pay more taxes than the native population, and as Kaplan points out, the notion that they're all on welfare is just not true. It's just not fleshed out in the data, and it is lower than with the native population and practically non existent with undocumented immigrants. Why is this? Because they're living there illegally. If they collect welfare, that means the government now knows where they are, therefore, they can be deported. So, the right wants to demonize entire sectors of humanity and get you to suspend thinking logically and dialectically. And that, perhaps, is the biggest tragedy there is.